Alright, welcome back to the channel again. This is going to be another part to the long video. We'll get them all stitched together, but this is the Hemi that we have tore down for lifter tick. Now, that right there is a ground down cam lobe. And where did you go? It's on the other bank. Let me get over to it real quick. There is the lifter. That roller is frozen, needle bearings are gone, and as you can see, it's flat on that edge. So we have cause of failure, lifter. Anyway, let's get back to some of the other stuff on this engine. We were talking about the maintenance on it yesterday. If we look really close, you can still see cross hatches in the cylinder walls. Pistons don't have hardly any carbon buildup on them. A lot of that stuff that you see is from pulling the head. Come over here to the other side. Again, she is in really good shape. Not a lot to say except for, you know, it happens. It's one of those things. Come over here to the engine bay. I went ahead and laid down a whole bunch of degreaser. I'm going to clean this all up before we put it back together, put the new engine in there, and I'm also going to do an interior and exterior flush on the radiator. We have a whole lot of debris stuck to the radiator. I want to give this engine the best possible chance it can of lasting for a long time. But there you go. There's the failure. Got a ground down cam lobe and a ground down lifter. Alright, so you guys have heard me talk about the dangers of just doing a camshaft and lifters on these engines. And here's another example. In the oil pan, you can see all of that metal debris in there, and then there's a puddle of metal right underneath the drain plug boss. You can actually see a sliver of metal in there too. This is why I don't like doing just camshaft and lifter jobs. I like to replace the engine, just because it gives our customers a much more thorough job. There's really no way of effectively flushing out all of that metal unless you totally disassemble the engine and flush every oil passage in there. You can't just flush the oil pan. You can't just replace the cam and lifters and not expect there to be metal in there. There's tons of little tiny passages inside of these engines, and then the bearings and everything else. Plus, you get all that metal in the bearings, the main bearings, cam bearings, rod bearings. And there's no effective way to just flush all of that out. So that's the reason why I like to replace the engine, give the customer more bang for their buck, so to say.